بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. We were talking about Wilayat Takwini, and we said that it's a kind of authority, a creational power which is gifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to human being according to their ubudiyyah and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here a question is raised that if it is this wilayah and such authority is for man according to Quran and Hadith as a result of worshipping and developing the self, what do we say about the prophets like Isa alayhi salam, that he had such power of speaking at the very moment of birth? He was of the power to speak in the cradle, while he didn't have a chance in this dunya to grow, to be mature, and to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a question that inshallah today we are going to deal with it. Before that, I would like to recite some Quranic verses that put us in the context of the discussion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Imran says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى آدم ونوحا وآل إبراهيم وآل إمران على العالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose some people. Adam alayhi salam was chosen, Nuh was chosen, and Al Ibrahim, the family of Ibrahim, family of Imran ala al-alamin, upon the others. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about a chosen group among his creation and among human beings, that they have a kind of a speciality. Then Allah says, ذُرِّيَّةً بَعْضُهَا مِنْ بَعْضٍ وَاللَّهُ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Then Allah mentions the example of the mother of Mary, mother of Maryam salamullah alayhima. So there are people who are chosen by Allah, and why they are chosen, inshallah we'll discuss it briefly here, but basically it goes to the concepts of the wisdom of Allah, the knowledge of Allah, knowing the souls, and it's the matter of before coming to this dunya. So before coming to this dunya, Allah knows the souls, and Allah, according to His wisdom, has given such a speciality to some of His creation. This is to deal with the issue of adl ilahi and justice of Allah, that we are not going to talk about it here. Here we are going to talk about the essence of such power which is given to some people by the birth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here mentions the example of Mary and how she was born, to show that when the context and the place and the atmosphere that a person is being born is proper, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gift a specific soul to that occasion. When a person is being born from a pure mother and father, and they have practiced specific rituals and purifications, so their child will receive some specifications. It's like a seed. When you plant the seed in a fertile soil with the other proper elements, then the seed will grow properly. And if the seed is put in a infertile land, in a land which is not proper for planting, you may not get the same result out of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the example of the mother of Mary. إذ قالت امرأة إمران رب إني نذرت لك ما في بطني محررا. The mother of Mary wished to have a son, then to dedicate the son to the temple. So Allah says that this mother was a very pure lady, taking care of the baby, the fetus that she was carrying, and she wanted her to be a great person to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. So she asked Allah to accept from her this gift. So in order to uh, dedicate the son to the temple, she she was a pure lady, and she had this mind. She had this in mind that I want the baby to be a pure person to serve Allah, and so she has purified herself, and she has paved the way for a pure baby to be born. فلما وضعتها قالت رب إني وضعتها أنثى. When she delivered the baby, then she saw that it's a girl, and she expected to have a son. Then she was disappointed. She said, "Oh Allah, this is a she, and I wanted a boy to serve you." Here, apparently, this phrase is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says, "Wallahu a'lamu bima waza'at." Allah better knows about what she has delivered, about Mary. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. And the male is not like female. Here, again, it should be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if it was from the mother of Mary, she had to say وَلَيْسَ الْأُنْثَى كَالذَّكَرِ. She was disappointed that it's female, and female cannot go to the temple. So she has to say naturally, she cannot be like he. But Allah says, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Allah says, we know what we gifted her, and males cannot be like her, like Mary. Then she says, وَإِنِّي سَمَّيْتُهَا مَرْيَمَ. So I called her Maryam, to a worshipper. وَإِنِّي أُعِيذُهَا بِكَ وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. Oh Allah, I want you to protect her and her progeny from shaitan. So she very well knows that this child has an enemy as shaitan. Not only she wants to protect the baby from shaitan, she also wants to protect her progeny from shaitan, from the enemy. Usually when we are gifted a baby, we think about the milk, about the other, diapers and these things to be prepared for the baby. But Allah says she had a bigger concern, and from the very moment her concern is that what's going to happen to this baby? I'm worried. She has come to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want her to be in the best, not only her, but her progeny also, to be as the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when she says, Inni u'izaha, means that she also paved the way, and she prepared the atmosphere for the pure growth of the baby. And this is, again, a lesson for us that even though we have to take care of the daily needs of the children that we have, we also need to take care of the spiritual well-being of our kids and the environment that they are growing. Then Allah says, فَتَقَبَّلَهَا رَبُّهَا بِقَبُولٍ حَسَنٍ. Allah accepted. She wanted to dedicate the baby to temple, and Allah accepted. If they don't accept in the temple, doesn't matter. What matters is that Allah has accepted from you. And this is something that you have to be happy with that. Then, so you see, in that condition, with such a mother, with such a supervisor like Zakaria, salamullah alayhim, Mary is uprooted, and she was a pure lady. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Mary herself. In two places Allah mentions this. One in Surah Al-Anbiya verse 91, and the other in Surah Al-Tahrim verse 12. The same concept is coming. Allah says, وَالَّتِي, talking about Maryam salamullah alayha, وَالَّتِي أَحْسَنَتْ فَرْجَهَا. Mary purified herself. So she was from a pure mother, from such a family, in such a pure environment. Allah says Mary purified herself. Mary purified her womb as a result, fa is fa tafri, as the result, as a conclusion, as a result of purification that Mary had. فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِن رُوحِنَا. We blew in her from our soul. So Allah is here to say that don't think that it is accidental we gifted Isa alayhi salam to Mary. the reason that Mary was chosen to be gifted Isa alayhi salam is because she was a pure woman. In Surah Al-Tahrim verse 12 says, وَمَرْيَمَ ابْنَةَ عِمْرَانَ الَّتِي أَحْسَنَتْ فَرْجَهَا فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِنَا. Then we gave and gifted her Isa alayhi salam. We have it the same concept. We may find it about Lady Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha, that in the ziyarah that late Shaykh Tusi rahmatullah alayhi mentions in Tahzib al-Ahkam, we have from this for Lady Fatima, Ya mumtahanatu imtahanaki Allahu alladhi khalaqaki qabla an yakhluqaki fawajadaki lima imtahanaki sabira. The soul of Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha is somehow with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before coming to this dunya. That Allah says, the ziyarah says that Allah tested you. Ya mumtahanatu imtahanaki Allahu alladhi khalaqaki. Allah tested you before your creation. This is one of the difficult concepts that our ulama, they have struggled to explain it. What does it mean that this world is for test? We come to this dunya for being tested. But the soul of Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had such a state before coming to this world that as if she was tested and she was the best of the souls to come out successful from the test of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then she is gifted to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And we know that even the Prophet should go through a specific purification to sort of going and staying in the cave Hira and to worship, to use a specific food for some days. Then a heavenly food should come, and then as a result Lady Fatima al-Zahra salamullah alayha is born. So when the vessel, the womb of the mother and the father is pure, then such specific and great servants of Allah will be born, and the pure souls will be gifted to those wombs. We have it in different ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, that we bear witness that you were in pure fathers and mothers. أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. So by this preparation of the parents and of the mother and father, such souls will be gifted. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about Isa alayhi salam, which is given to Mary in a extraordinary way. So Mary was to be blamed. When people came to blame Mary, Allah says in Surah Maryam, verse 29, Mary didn't answer. فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ. She pointed to the baby. Then they said, قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد الصبيا. How can we speak to a baby which is born? Then Allah says, Isa spoke himself and he said, إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. إني عبد الله. I am the servant of Allah. I can speak. Why? You shouldn't be surprised. Because I am the servant of Allah. I am abd. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is referring to the reason that why Isa has such capability. Isa has such a power. Because he is the servant of Allah. So he's giving us this code, the code of ubudiyah. If a person is great in his servitude and he's being abd to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he will be gifted by a specific gifts of Allah. So first he is Abdullah, then Atani al-Kitab. Then Allah has given me a book. Then وَجَعَلَنِي نَبِيًّا. What comes first is the reason that he is abd. Such pure family, such pure mother prepared the condition for the birth of a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. Then I am the cause of blessings. I have such powers. I can, that Wilayat Takwini, I can create, I can give shifa, I can revive the dead, I have all those powers and I can help people. So Mubarak means nafa according to ahadith. He is beneficial. Isa is beneficial. Isa has such power, and it is because of his being abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what happens that abd of Allah at the beginning of his coming to this world can speak? In another place in Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 110, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains it for us. إذ قال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم اذكر نعمتي عليك وعلى والدتك. O Isa, remember my blessing on you, upon you and your mother. إذ أيدتك بروح القدس تكلم الناس في المهد. I supported you by Ruh Al-Qudus, then you spoke in the cradle. So Allah didn't mention vav between إذ أيدتك بروح القدس وتكلم الناس في المهد. It wasn't like this. إذ أيدتك بروح القدس. I supported you by Ruh Al-Qudus, then you can speak in the cradle. So here Allah is about to tell us that the reason that Isa alayhi salam could speak in a miraculous way in the cradle, because he is supported by Ruh Al-Qudus. And then Allah mentions the other gifts that was given to him. Is تخلق من الطين كهيئة الطير. You could create a bird out of mud. وتبرئ الأكمه والأبرص. You could heal. وإذ تخرج الموتى بإذني. You could revive the dead by my permission, and the other things. So you see that Allah is mentioning the function of Ruh Al-Qudus here for the servants of Allah. What is Ruh Al-Qudus? In some places Ruh Al-Qudus is mentioned in Quran. According to some verses, like the verse 102 of Surah Al-Nahl, Allah says, قُلْ نَزَّلَهُ رُوحُ الْقُدُسِ مِنْ رَبِّكِ. Quran, Allah says, was revealed by Ruh Al-Qudus. So according to this, some Mufassirin, they believe that Ruh Al-Qudus is Jibreel. Some others, they say it is another creation of Allah, greatest creation, which is called Ruh. Ruh is different from the angels. There are different interpretations for this. One interpretation is that Ruh Al-Qudus is the power in the human, the power that we call it Wilayat, this authority. This itself is one of the faculties which is gifted to human being, those who are awliya, those who are the prophets, and they can do supernatural things through that power. Shaykh Saduq Rahmatullah alayh in his book I'tiqadatul Imamiyya, page 50, he says, اعتقادنا في الأنبياء والرسل والأئمة عليهم السلام. What is the belief of Shia in the prophets and Imams عليهم السلام? إن فيهم خمسة أرواح. There are 5 souls in them. Ruh Al-Qudus, Ruh Al-Qudus, Ruh Al-Iman, Ruh Al-Quwwa, wa Ruh Al-Shahwa, wa Ruh Al-Madraj. So what he says is according to a hadith. There are several hadiths in Basair al-Darajat, in Usul al-Kafi. Some of them are hadiths, some of these hadiths are Sahih hadiths altogether. It's a matter of consensus accepted among the Shia scholars that there are such powers in the soul of the prophets. And according to those hadiths, as Shaykh Saduq Rahmatullah alayhi mentions, in the other believers, Ruh Al-Iman is there, Ruh Al-Quwwa, Ruh Al-Shahwa, Ruh Al-Madraj, but Ruh Al-Qudus is not there. Some other hadiths say that sometimes ordinary people can be supported by Ruh Al-Qudus, but Ruh Al-Qudus is for the prophets and for Imams. There are several hadiths in this. One of them, I mentioned that also Allama Majlisi Rahmatullah alayhi mentions in Mir'atul Uqul, volume 3, page 165, and he says that Al-Hadith Al-Awwal Sahihun. This hadith is Sahih. The hadith comes from Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam says, Ya Jabir, Inna Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala khalaqa al-khalqa salasata asnaf. Allah has created people in 3 categories. Ashabul Maymana, Ashabul Mash'ama, wa As-Sabiqun As-Sabiqun. Then when he comes to explain this, he says, فَالسَّابِقُونَ. Who are Sabiqun? Those who precede others. هُمْ رُسُلُ اللَّهِ وَخَاصَّةَ اللَّهِ مِنْ خَلْقِهِ. They are the prophets and the chosen ones who are awsiya and the Imams. جعل فيهم خمسة أرواح. Allah gifted them 5 souls. بروح القدس فبه عرفوا الأشياء. It's Ruh Al-Qudus that gives them a knowledge, and by that knowledge they know things. So this knowledge is not the knowledge that we have about that the nature about the world, the knowledge that we and the science that we acquire. It's a kind of presentational knowledge which is for the prophets and awliya. Then it says وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بَرُوحِ الْإِيمَانِ. The other gift is Ruh Al-Iman, that they have the soul of Iman. فَبِهِ خَافُ اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Through that soul they fear the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بَرُوحِ الْقُوَّةِ. The other one is the soul of power. فَبِهِ قَدَرُوا عَلَى طَاعَةِ اللَّهِ. Through that they can practice and do worship of Allah. وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بَرُوحِ الشَّهْوَةِ. The other one is the soul of desires. فَبِهِ اشْتَهُوا طَاعَةَ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ وَكَرِهُوا مَعْصِيَتَهُ. They like worshipping Allah, they dislike sins and muharramat. وَجَعَلَ فِيهِمْ رُوحَ الْمَدْرَجِ. And also there is another soul, الَّذِي بِهِ يَذْهَبُ النَّاسُ وَيَجِئُونَ. That is the soul that gives them strength to walk, to go and to come and to do the physical things. To the end of the hadith. Allama Majlisi Rahmatullah alayhi, after mentioning the hadith, he says about Ruh Al-Qudus and the other souls, there are some possibilities. One possibility is that all are referring to the soul. These are different things, each is called soul. So we have different types of soul. One is the soul which is called Ruh Al-Qudus. There is another soul which is called Ruh Al-Iman, Ruh Al-Shahwa, Ruh Al-Qudra to the end. And one of them, he says, is Ruh Al-Qudus, that could be a great angel of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other possibility is that all of these souls are different levels of the soul of man. So there is one soul with different degrees, that it has different faculties, it has different capabilities. The third possibility, he says, that the soul of power, the soul of shahwa, and the soul which is madraj, the strength to do the daily things, the physical things, this is referring to the animalistic soul of man, which they also share it with the other human beings. Against the Ruh Al-Qudus, which is the divine soul that they have, and the divine soul that they have enables them to do such extraordinary things. The other, or the fourth possibility, he says, these different souls which are mentioned, they are different degrees of the soul of man, with the difference that Ruh Al-Qudus is other than the soul of man. So Ruh Al-Qudus is something outside the soul of man, but it comes to help the soul of the Prophet and the Imam. Then he comes to the fourth possibility, that he says that it is possible that there is a connection between the pure soul, Ruh Al-Qudus, Qudus comes from purity. He says the fifth possibility is that Ruh Al-Qudus is referring to the pure soul of man and the prophets and Imams. Because of that, they have such power, and they can do extraordinary things. And at the same time, Ruh Al-Qudus is another angel as well. Is another creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it can come and support the soul of the Prophet and the Imam. So when the soul of Imam or the Prophet is connected to that Ruh Al-Qudus, then Ruh Al-Qudus, that creation is called Ruh Al-Qudus, and at the same time, the soul of the Prophet, which is connected, which is in contact with that soul, and is getting the power from it, then that soul of the Prophet also can be considered Ruh Al-Qudus. So you can call that creation of Allah Ruh Al-Qudus, and you can consider the soul of the Prophet as Ruh Al-Qudus. So these are all possibilities. But anyhow, what matters is that there is such a gift for the prophets and for awliya, and through that they can do extraordinary things. And we refer to those verses of Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that the prophets, they had the power, and it is to support. When we look at the other verses of Quran, we see that there is a support to come, Ruh Al-Qudus, even if we consider it to be a creation other than the soul of the Prophet, but there is a connection in a way that the soul of the Prophet is enabled to do these things. So, تُكَلِّمُ النَّاسِ فِي الْمَهْدِ, you are the one who is speaking. It is the soul which is empowered by Allah through that Ruh Al-Qudus. Then this soul has the power to speak, to create, to revive the dead. And this is what we consider it to be the wilayah and the authority that awliyaullah have. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.